Have you ever noticed a dramatic shift in a woman's behavior when you pull back and lose interest? If you've been in this situation, you've probably seen her become more attentive, start testing your resolve, or even act emotionally unpredictable. This sudden change is not random. There's a reason behind it. Women are highly sensitive to shifts in energy, especially when it comes from a man they've been emotionally invested in or someone who was once actively pursuing them. When you withdraw your attention, it triggers an instinctive reaction, often related to power dynamics, validation, and evolutionary psychology. In the course of this video, we'll explore the reasons behind these behaviors and offer you the tools to navigate this power shift effectively. Understanding the psychological dynamic is crucial not only for your dating life, but also for cultivating emotional intelligence and self-worth in any relationship. Let's dive deep into the psychology of attraction and explore the 7 key reactions a woman has when she realizes you've lost interest. So, what triggers a sudden shift in a behavior when you pull back? Let's begin by exploring the first noticeable reaction, increased attention, and what it means when she feels a need to fill that emotional void. One of the first things you'll notice when a woman realizes you've lost interest is that she becomes more attentive. Women are wired to sense any change in energy, especially when it comes from someone they care about. When you suddenly pull away or reduce your emotional investment, she feels a void, an emotional gap that she needs to fill. But it's not just about missing your attention. It's about the loss of control. The moment she senses this, it activates her competitive instinct. She starts paying closer attention to your words, actions, and even subtle cues you might have ignored. She might start texting you more, asking about your day, or engaging with your social media posts more actively. These behaviors aren't accidental. They are intentional moves designed to re-establish a connection and reclaim the validation she once felt from you. It's important to remember that, at this point, don't overreact. Women can sense when you are emotionally unstable or too eager to respond. Reacting too quickly to her newfound enthusiasm will put you right back into a frame, shifting the power dynamic. Instead, focus on maintaining self-control and avoid slipping into old patterns of attention-seeking behavior. How to respond? Maintain your focus on your own goals and self-improvement. Let her come to you instead of chasing after her. A high-value man doesn't scramble to get the attention he once had. He remains grounded in his own identity, focusing on his mission and ambitions. By doing so, you reinforce your value and make her realize that your time and attention are owned, not freely given. Now that we've seen how she reacts with more attention, the next step is often her testing your resolve. But why does she test you? It's about figuring out whether this withdrawal is temporary or permanent. Let's take a deeper look into this phase. Once a woman notices your withdrawal, her next instinct is often to test your resolve. Women are naturally drawn to men who are steady, emotionally mature, and have a sense of purpose. When you pull back, she will question whether you are genuinely withdrawing or if this is just a temporary phase. This is often manifested in her trying to test whether your detachment is permanent. One common test is her acting cold or distant to see if you'll chase her again. She might mirror your behavior, withdrawing just to provoke a response. This is an emotional tactic to regain control and reassert her position in the relationship. How to respond? The key here is to remain calm and composed. Don't fall into the trap of overcompensating or trying to reassure her. If she becomes distant, match her energy or remain indifferent. A high-value man doesn't jump to conclusions or react to her tests. By not chasing her back or reacting emotionally, you demonstrate emotional strength and self-respect. The more you hold your ground, the more she will respect your emotional independence. By doing this, you show that your self-worth isn't defined by a validation. The more she tests, the more you should remain steady. Don't break character or revert to your old self, because doing so will shift the power dynamic back into her hands. A high-value man understands that these tests are a natural part of relationships and sees them as opportunities to reinforce his boundaries. Once she senses your withdrawal, emotional unpredictability often kicks in. But what causes this sudden emotional roller coaster? Let's dive into how her internal struggle manifests through mood swings and mixed signals. When a woman realizes that you've lost interest, one of her most noticeable reactions is an increase in emotional unpredictability. This is a direct result of a feeling of loss of control in the relationship. Women are emotionally intuitive, and when they feel that something is off, it often manifests in sudden mood swings or mixed signals. At first, She might become warmer and more affectionate, seeking validation through your attention. She may shower you with compliments, ask for your feedback on trivial matters, or suddenly become overly engaged with your personal life. However, if this doesn't produce the expected response, her behavior can shift quickly from affection to frustration or even anger. How to respond? In these situations, it's crucial to remain calm and emotionally detached. Don't try to calm her down or engage with her emotional volatility. A high-value man doesn't engage in emotional chaos. Instead, he focuses on maintaining clarity and emotional stability. If she acts frustrated, confused, or angry, it's important to stay consistent in your actions and words. Don't let her emotional state dictate yours. The more you remain grounded, the more you show that you are unshaken by her mood swings. This will further cement your position as someone who is emotionally self-sufficient. As we discuss emotional unpredictability, her next move might be to reignite the spark. But how does she try to win you back? Let's explore the tactics she uses to reclaim your attention and emotional investment. After realizing that you've lost interest, her next move is often to reignite the spark. This is when she starts to actively make herself more appealing and desirable to you. She might change the way she dresses, experiment with her look, or be more flirty in her communication. This effort is a reaction to losing the emotional connection she once had with you, and it signals that she is fighting to get back in control. But this can also be seen as a moment where she is trying to prove her worth. It's not just about her attraction, it's about trying to reassert the dynamic. How to respond? While her increased effort might seem flattering, it's important to evaluate her intentions. Don't reward her immediately with attention or affection. Instead, let her prove her intentions over time. If she's genuinely making an effort to reconnect, give her the space to do so, but remain selective and focus on your own self-respect and boundaries. A high-value man doesn't get swayed by superficial changes in behavior. He observes and evaluates if her efforts are sustainable or just a short-term response to feeling threatened. With increased effort to win you back comes the mind games. These psychological tactics are designed to provoke emotional reactions and regain control. How can you respond effectively without falling into her traps? Let's break it down. If she feels that she's losing control, she may resort to mind games to regain the upper hand. These tactics are designed to create emotional confusion, provoke insecurity, and force you to reassert your interest. Mind games can be difficult to navigate, but understanding them is a first step in maintaining control. One common tactic is oscillating between acting distant and affectionate, making it difficult for you to know where you stand. Another method is subtly trying to provoke jealousy by mentioning other men or making herself appear more desirable. How to respond? The best response is to remain emotionally detached. Don't chase her when she withdraws, and don't react to her provocation. A high-value man does not react emotionally to mind games. Instead, he shows self-control and remains grounded in his identity. By refusing to engage in these games, you maintain control of the dynamic. Recognize that mind games are often an indicator of her trying to regain control, and by not reacting, you reinforce your strength and emotional independence. Stay tuned for the next section where we'll cover more behaviors and effective responses when a woman realizes you've lost interest. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth strategies and relationship advice. Share your experiences with us below. How do you handle these shifts in behavior when you pull back? Let's talk. After mind games, she might attempt to reassert dominance over the dynamic. This is her defense mechanism. But how should you respond to maintain your power and emotional strength? Let's look at how to handle this situation. When a woman realizes that you've lost interest, one of her final attempts to regain control in the relationship is through reasserting dominance. This often comes from a place of insecurity and discomfort as she tries to restore the balance that once existed in the relationship. The more she feels that she's losing grip, the more she'll engage in tactics designed to undermine your emotional stability and reclaim power. Her attempts to reassert dominance can range from subtle comments to outright manipulation. She might dismiss your feelings, criticize your decisions, or even highlight how other men are showing interest in her. These actions are meant to provoke insecurity in you, ultimately forcing you to question your decision to withdraw. In some cases, her behavior may even become condescending or passive-aggressive. For instance, she may make remarks like, "You've changed," "I like the old you better," or "I think other guys would appreciate me more." This is an attempt to subtly remind you that she's in control, and by challenging your decisions or opinions, she's testing whether you'll fall back into her frame of control. How to respond? The best way to handle this situation is to remain calm and composed. Don't engage in a heated argument or feel the need to explain yourself. A high-value man doesn't need to defend himself, especially when it comes to his self-worth. Let her words roll off you and continue to maintain your focus on your own goals. Acknowledge her attempt to dominate, but don't let it affect your behavior. When you don't react to her provocations, you send a powerful message. You're unshaken by her attempts, and you won't allow her to control the dynamic. This shows strength, emotional resilience, and confidence, traits that women naturally respect. When a woman realizes you've truly lost interest, her final reaction is often an aggressive pursuit. But how do you navigate this stage without losing your ground? Let's explore how to stay steady while she tries to regain control. When a woman realizes that you've genuinely lost interest, her aggressive pursuit begins. This shift in behavior is often a result of fear. Fear of losing someone she values, or fear that you become emotionally distant from her. Her need to regain control over the situation becomes apparent, and she may begin to pursue you more intensely than ever before. At this stage, her actions may become more obvious and deliberate. She might text you more frequently, initiate conversations, or even go out of her way to impress you. She could make herself more available, showing up at places she knows you frequent, or talking about things you've mentioned in passing to prove she's still interested in rekindling the spark. This is a critical moment in the dynamic because it's when she's actively trying to regain the control that she once had. While it can be tempting to reciprocate her efforts, it's important to understand that this pursuit is more about her fear of loss than genuine attraction. By shifting her behavior, she's hoping to remind you of what she can offer and prove to you that she's still the prize. How to respond? Here, you must continue to hold your frame. Resist the urge to chase her back. A high-value man does not react to these attempts with desperation. Instead, he remains steady and confident in his choices. Let her pursue you, but don't allow her behavior to dictate your responses. Continue to focus on your own goals, values, and priorities. If you do engage with her, remain selective and purposeful in your interactions. Let her efforts be a natural response to her understanding of your value. It's not about playing games. It's about letting her demonstrate through consistent effort that she genuinely wants to reconnect on your terms. As we conclude the reactions she may have, what are the key takeaways for you to handle these situations with confidence? Let's go over the essential strategies that will allow you to maintain control and emotional discipline. Another common reaction when a woman realizes you've lost interest is the presence of mixed signals. At first, she might act one way, being emotionally invested, overly affectionate, and eager to please you. But just as quickly, she may withdraw and become cold or distant. These shifts are intentional, designed to make you feel unsure and question where you stand with her. The unpredictability in her behavior is her way of testing your resolve. She wants to see if she can get you to chase her or reassert your interest. Mixed signals may also be her way of provoking jealousy or gauging your emotional response. If you react by becoming frustrated or insecure, you lose the power dynamic and put yourself back in a frame. How to respond? The key to navigating mixed signals is to stay emotionally detached and remain consistent in your actions. Don't try to decode every signal she sends your way or react to her mood swings. By staying grounded and unshaken, you demonstrate emotional control, which is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. Instead of chasing after her when she withdraws or falling into the trap of trying to decode her behavior, focus on maintaining your own emotional stability. Let her inconsistencies speak for themselves. Over time, she'll realize that her mixed signals no longer have the effect she intends. When you stay steady, you reinforce your value and strengthen your position in the relationship. So now that we've looked at all the reactions, you might be wondering, how can you handle these situations without losing your power? The key lies in emotional discipline and remaining grounded in your self-worth. Another tactic women may use when they realize you've lost interest is provoking jealousy. This tactic stems from a deep-rooted desire to see if you still care and whether you'll react emotionally. She might mention other men, share photos or stories that highlight her social life, or subtly hint that she's receiving attention from others. The goal behind this is to see if she can get a rise out of you, whether by making you feel jealous, insecure, or left out. She wants to determine whether your emotional investment in her is still there, and if so, whether it's strong enough to provoke a reaction. By making you question her feelings or intentions, she seeks to regain control of the emotional balance in the relationship. How to respond? Do not fall for the bait. A high-value man does not let jealousy or insecurity dictate his actions. Stay calm and unbothered by her tactics. Don't show any signs of frustration or jealousy. Instead, show her that your emotions and self-worth aren't tied to her validation. If she tries to provoke jealousy, respond with indifference. If she talks about other men, respond with confidence and avoid engaging in discussions about her social life. The more emotionally unaffected you remain, the more she'll realize that her attempt to control your emotions are futile. Finally, if you're ready to take control of your relationships and maintain your high-value status, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share your thoughts below. How do you handle when a woman pulls away emotionally? Let's talk about it in the comments. When a woman realizes you've lost interest, one of the more complex tactics she might use is mind games. These psychological tactics are designed to manipulate your emotions and shift the power dynamic back in her favor. Mind games often involve creating confusion, triggering emotional responses, and testing your emotional strength. One common mind game she might employ is playing hard to get. She may oscillate between being distant and overly affectionate, making it difficult for you to know where you stand. She could also engage in behaviors that make you question her feelings for you, like acting cold, then warm, or hinting that she's interested in other men. How to respond? The best way to handle mind games is to stay emotionally composed and avoid reacting to her attempts. A high-value man doesn't get swept up by manipulative tactics. He remains steady in his emotions, confident in his self-worth. Let her games unfold without being affected by them. By maintaining emotional control and patience, you show her that you're not easily swayed by her tactics. Eventually, she'll realize that mind games have no place in a relationship with a man who understands his own value. When a woman realizes you've lost interest, her reactions are deeply tied to the power dynamics in the relationship. She will test your emotional strength, engage in mind games, provoke jealousy, and even pursue you aggressively in an attempt to regain control. The way you respond to these behaviors will determine whether you maintain your position as a high-value man or lose control of the relationship. The key to handling these situations is emotional discipline, self-control, and staying grounded in your self-worth. A high-value man does not react impulsively to these emotional shifts. Instead, he maintains his focus on his own goals, priorities, and emotional stability. By demonstrating that your self-worth is not tied to her validation, and by refusing to engage in manipulative dynamics, you reinforce your position as someone who cannot be easily controlled. This will not only strengthen your relationship, but also build your self-respect and confidence in all aspects of your life. If you want to learn more about handling the power dynamics in relationships and becoming a high-value man, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment below. How do you handle situations when a woman pulls away emotionally? Share your experiences and thoughts with me. I'd love to hear from you.